Okay, so let's do listening, alright? Okay, so pay attention, right?
Reaching for the phone, 'cause I can't fight it anymore.
A, B, C, D.
A, B, C, D.
In the morning, brush your teeth.
Summon, I'm a doom, I'm a you assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say is ricochet.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to one of my classes. My name is Alejo, and today we are going to talk about something very important. If you have decided to learn English, let me tell you that is something amazing that is gonna open so many doors for you. You must have dedication, patient, and have fun with it. But eventually your brain says, I don't want to study English, this is too difficult, I'm tired today. So your brain becomes an obstacle for you to learn. Today in our class we are going to talk about 3 ways that you can help your brain to learn more English. Number 1, you need to make your process of learning English something urgent, a priority. If you say like, yeah, I'm gonna learn English just whenever I have the time, nothing's gonna happen. But if you push yourself that you really need to learn English, that you have to learn English, then your brain is gonna accept that like, alright, so let's do it.
Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
Let me give you an example. I love to cook, but I am not very good at it. My wife cooks amazingly, and sometimes I ask the delivery boy to bring me some food. So to me, learning how to cook is not actually something very relevant. But let's suppose I am not married and I live far away. That means I don't have my wife to help me with the cooking, and I don't have anybody or any restaurant near to come and bring me food. In that case, food and learning how to cook is a necessity. So I have to learn how to cook. So it happens the same with your brain. You really need to see English as a priority, something that you really need to accomplish. Maybe because of your job, or maybe because you need that to travel, or maybe because you are gonna fall in love with a person that speaks English. So for example, you have to work every day, or you study, you go to the gym, and then you go home and say like, okay, I'm gonna learn some English, but you are tired and your brain sends a message like, no Alejo, let's not study right now, let's go to sleep or watch TV. That's when you have to tell your brain, I am going to study English. But what can you do to make your brain want to study English? One of my recommendations is that you must find a community, alright? So try to find people who are as interested to learn English as you are. Maybe you can find a chat on WhatsApp so you can talk to them. Maybe you can find a group on Facebook that really want to learn English so you can participate in all the forums and everything that is going on there. Just try to find people as interested to learn English as you. I know for a fact that many people around you are also very eager to learn English. One of the recommendations I have for you is that you need to be aware of your progress. So for example, recording yourself talking is a great idea. For example, on a video, because then you can see the video of you talking in English, and then you can see, oh, the last week I wasn't talking that well, this week I'm speaking a little bit better, so next week I'm going to improve a little bit. Or if you don't want to do a video, for example, you can record yourself with your cell phone, for example. You can read a paragraph and then record yourself, and you are gonna listen to it later, and then you're gonna be like, oh, maybe I mispronounced this, or I need to work a little bit more on my speed, or I need to enhance my vocabulary. For example, if you have a friend that speaks a little bit more English than you can send that audio or that video to that person. And then you can ask that person for feedback. Hey, what do you think about this? Do you think that I am improving a little bit? What would be your recommendation? So that would be a very good strategy for you to keep up with your progress. It's very, very important that you feel that you are making progress, because your brain will say like, okay, if we are making progress, we'd better continue studying.
Nuestro.
Our.
Of. Or.
Our.
Mineral. Or.
Our.
Remo. Or.
Our.
Nuestro mineral o nuestro remo. Or.
Another recommendation is that you cannot escape or let your brain to escape from English. Which means that when you are studying, for example, for 30 minutes and those 30 minutes are over, your brain is like, okay, so we are on vacation, let's do something else. It's a good idea to continue studying without studying. But what is that? That means that you can continue listening to songs in English, or watching videos in English, or reading in English, any other thing. If you do that, then your brain is not gonna think like, oh, we're still studying. No, your brain is gonna relax because you are reading something that you are interested in, or you're watching a video that you like, or you're listening to music. And even though you stop studying, your brain is absorbing that new vocabulary, that new pronunciation, and that new English that is coming up to your brain. So very important that we tell our brain like, hey, English is everywhere, so get used to it. Number 2, make the learning progress as personal as you can. What is the meaning of that? Well, the way that our brain works is that our brain is very selective. So if something is important, our brain is going to be focused on that important thing. But if something is not relevant, it's not important, our brain is going to forget it. So when you are studying English, it's very important that everything you study, it really has to be with you or about you. Let me give you an example. If you are learning, for example, the verbs, try to learn the verbs that you normally do. For example, if you love to jog, then try to conjugate the verb jog with all the pronouns. For example, if you love painting, that's a new word that you can learn. Let's go back to the example of cooking. If you love cooking, then you're gonna learn words like chop, for example, like stir, or eating, whatever. So what I'm trying to say is that everything you study, try to make it about you or about something that you really love. For example, in my case, you know I love music, so when I was learning English, what I tried to do was to take all those new verbs, those new nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and try to find songs that contained those words. So for me, it was a little bit easier to remember those words when I made the connection with songs I liked. You can do the same with movies, for example, or books or series that you watch. Let's suppose that you are learning something very easy, such as learning the animals vocabulary. So instead of watching those photographs of dogs, cats, peacocks, or something like that, try to put a photo of your dog or your cat or that movie that you remember when you saw a peacock on it. So try to remember that peacock, and then you are going to remember easily that word. I've always said that writing is a very good exercise. But let's not write about something that is not familiar to us. Why don't you write about you? Why don't you write about how you see yourself in the future if you want to practice the will and going to? If you are trying to remember the verbs in the past, why don't you talk about yourself when you were a kid? What activities did you do when you were a kid? In that case, you're going to remember those words and you're going to incorporate new words And it's gonna be easier for you to remember because it's about you. And number 3, repetition. If you learn new words, it's not like you're gonna sit down and you're gonna start repeating those words over and over and over again. Try to associate those new words with images, with everything we've said, but try to do several repetitions. If you do that, your brain is going to decide like, okay, that's a new word that is going to be repeated and repeated and repeated, so I might as well keep it. There's a book that is called Fluent Forever by an author that is called Gavrian Weiner. And that book talks specifically about what to do with repetition and how that repetition is going to help us to enhance and improve our English. Don't try to study 3, 5, 7 hours a day. That's not gonna help you. I prefer you to study very focused for 20 minutes every day. But really focus. No Instagram, no Facebook, no nothing. Just focus on whatever you're learning in English for 20 minutes every day. Try to study at the same time every day. For example, you decide like, okay, I'm gonna study for 10 minutes every day at 1 p.m. So every day at 1 p.m. I'm gonna study for 20 minutes. At the end of 1 month, for example, your brain will say like, okay, it's 1 p.m., it's time to learn. I know it sounds amazing, but that's the way our brain works. It's very important that you practice and practice and practice whatever it is that you just learned. If you learned a couple of new words today, practice those new words now. If you learned how to work with the conditionals, for example, well, try to use the conditionals right now. Don't go like, okay, I learned something, I'm gonna practice tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you're going to forget about this. So if you learned something, why don't you have like an extra 5 minutes to practice that? And very important, it doesn't matter the time that you study during the day. 5 minutes before you go to sleep, try to remember what you learned. Try to remember what you were repeating all day long. Just 5 minutes before you go to sleep. Your brain, while you're sleeping, will remember easily whatever you learned. And the first thing you do next morning when you wake up is try to remember what you were practicing 5 minutes before you fall asleep. And your brain is gonna make that connection in those words. That new grammar structure is going to stay there and you're gonna use it. It's as simple as that. Okay guys, this is it. These are some strategies, some methodologies that a lot of researchers, scientists, authors have written about, and how we can make our brain to help us in the process of learning English. If you have another strategy, please write down that strategy on the comments so we can all learn as a community, alright? If you liked this class, please subscribe, leave me your comments and thumbs up so we can continue talking about English. Alright? I'll see you later, my friends!